Jacko's here, and that's because we all here love Jackie Chan. Which reminds me of Hard Eyes. No, Love Hurts, which is like a Jackie Chan movie, but not very good. So, Aiden, what's the plot of Short Round Presents Love Hurts?
Love Hurts has almost no plot. Short Round is a real estate agent who at one point was an assassin for the Chinese mob led by his brother. And he let a girl live because he was in love with her. And then about 3.5 minutes into the movie, a guy comes into his office to kill him and they fight. And then he goes home and he fights. And then he goes somewhere else and they fight. And it's like 77 minutes of straight Jackie Chan-esque action scenes after the 3 minutes of introduction. And then it ends at exactly 80 minutes. And there are 8 minutes of credits because it had to hit the legal minimum length to put a movie in a theater.
It almost did. It almost hit that 90 minutes with credits.
Connor, what'd you think of Love Hurts?
I thought Love Hurts was an okay action movie with really mediocre plot surrounding it. Basically, it's kind of like a cartoon. You have Short Round who is confronted by the poet assassin man who he thinks he kills but he doesn't kill, who falls in love with his realtor assistant. And then there's hilarity ensues. And then there's two guys who are basically comedy movie characters that he gets in constant martial arts fights with. And then there's the lady he loves, who's just some fucking lady.
She's the woman from Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah, and she's kind of got like a Pam Grier blaxploitation thing going on while he's doing kind of a martial arts thing. So they're kind of reviving these 70s genres, but it kind of has a vibe of like a 2004 like Rush Hour-esque Jackie Chan movie. Or like, you know, just any of those like gimmick Americanized Jackie Chan films.
The Spy Next Door.
They're not quite like Police Story or something. They're not good per se, but there's like elements of fun. I like the Rush Hour movies. I like all three of them.
Rush Hour's funny.
I think there's diminishing returns with Rush Hour, but I do like all three of the Rush Hour movies. They're interchangeable. I couldn't tell you which movie is which. I think the third movie's the Eiffel Tower, and the first movie, him and Chris Tucker are getting around very well. There's no fourth. Not yet. They're making a fourth right now.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But anyways, yeah, I mean, the story is probably one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Like, it's just not very good. It's borderline pornography type storytelling and acting, and then occasionally they throw in a fun little fight scene, but it's really like a cartoon until the last battle with his brother and the Chinese mob, where stakes are raised. Like, you have these two goofy characters and they're hitting each other with cheese graters and kicking each other through walls, and no one's really down that much. It's all these like kind of creative long fight scenes that are very Jackie Chan-esque. You have Short Round kind of bumbling through these longer fight scenes and running off in a goofy thing while the mob is on his tail at all times. Very, very much in that like Jackie Chan-esque formula. And I'm not saying Jackie Chan always has the best stories back in the early 2000s, but this story is particularly dumb, and I think they wanted to like reshoot it to be less story and more action as a means to save it, but it makes the story that we do have like less satisfying. Like, it almost feels like
there's maybe like
the studio tried as hard as they could to cut this movie down to a fight scene compilation, basically.
In this 80-minute movie, there's probably like 6.5 minutes of story sandwiched between endless fight scenes.
Yeah. And I mean, the fight scenes aren't bad. The Foley is very loud and trying to make it more dynamic, which I think does add an effect of like intenseness and pain to the fights, but like, I don't know. They don't have like physicality on par with Jackie Chan, even in his older years in the early 2000s, but definitely not like peak 70s, 80s Jackie, who was just like, I'm gonna hang from this building and then just drop and hopefully I don't die on the way down or something, or like
Yeah,
What
well,
if
also,
Jackie
like,
Chan jumped 17 feet from a skyscraper and grabbed onto a banner for dear life? And
even in the
swung
later
around?
years when Jackie Chan was becoming more Americanized and he was making sillier movies, he had really good physicality where he was like a real life cartoon character bouncing off walls and using lots of props and creative set pieces and stuff. This movie doesn't really have that. They kind of just fight.
He kind of lost. I think Drunken Masters, where in like 1977, is where they're like, okay, Jackie Chan is never gonna make another like earnest, serious movie again. And every time he tried, it was just dog shit. And I think they understood that like taking Short Round's squeaky ass and trying to put him in like an earnest action film would be weird. It feels like there's a lot of inspirations they're trying to balance, like the minor flares of blaxploitation you have with this girlfriend who dresses up like a Pam Grier in the 70s, where she has a, fur coat and she's running around with a snub-nosed revolver and kicking dudes and whatever. Well, Short Round's doing his Jackie Chan shtick. It's kind of a blend of things that inspire it. I mean, you have like the brother, clearly every line was 80-yard. It does seem he spoke English, but I'm guessing like it just probably wasn't up to par, so they had either him or someone else redub him later.
Yeah, his lip sync isn't notably off center. It seems like they had him speak English in the scenes, but for whatever reason it was illegible or...
Yeah, it might have just been too hard to understand, so the studio had him. I feel like this is definitely one where the studio's like, I feel like we're living and dying off of these fight scenes and the story doesn't matter that much. So there is kind of this flimsy through line plot that's just really not important. I do think, I did enjoy the fight scenes for the most part. I thought they were fine. But the movie around it is just, I don't know. There was nothing to sink your teeth into here. It's very much fight scene after fight scene after fight scene, and they feel a little more like Marvel, very safe, if with decent choreography, rather than like Jackie Chan, where it's like, just hang on to the back of the bus and don't let go, brother. And then they slap the bus and tell them to take off, and they're like, goofy face, goofy face. You can hear the director behind the camera damn near being like, you're goofy, this is funny. You're doing the splits behind the bus that's going 65 miles per hour on the highway. Like, that's what makes those movies extra special. And like Jackie Chan's hitting people with ladders and diving through little things and just doing crazy stuff.
There's also like all the...
It was all very calculated. And
even
it was
in,
good, but it wasn't...
Yeah. Even in the lesser Jackie Chan movies, there's like interesting set pieces. Like City Hunter, not a great movie. But you have like... The fact that a good portion of it takes place on a cruise ship kind of dealy, like a boat thing, gives them a lot of opportunity to play with the setting and make interesting little set pieces out of that and give... Yeah. And then for some reason they got bored and had him turn into Chun-Li from Street Fighter, which is a thing. But
that was a weird fucking movie.
It's a weird movie.
I mean, but yeah, then you even compare to like Shaw Brothers, like a lot of martial arts stars, like, I think most, primarily for legal reasons, aren't allowed to do the bullshit that China used to allow them to do. And there was even an aspect of that in Rush Hour, but Rush Hour somehow got approval for some crazy shit that, like, I don't know how 2004 America was allowing him to do.
This bamboo shoot will probably hold you. We're going to drop it off a building, just wrap your arms around it real tight, Jackie, and push him off.
Yeah, I mean, the China movies are like, it's a miracle he's alive, and like, not everyone made a superstar. Not everyone made it off of those Chinese martial arts sets alive, but Jackie Chan did.
Hey, to be fair,
and America was
neither did Brandon Lee.
Yeah, that was an American movie, and he got blasted. Fucking Bruce Lee died of like an allergic reaction to shellfish or whatever. Not everyone makes it. Not everyone makes it, Some people are allergic to fucking...
At least Jet Li survived to be in a bad Star Wars movie.
That was not Jet Li. That was Donnie Yen.
Donnie Yen, who played
Jet
Li's understudy in whatever the hell.
Who's in Ip Man?
Who's in Ip Man?
Who's in Ip Man? Yeah. I don't know. So, Aiden, what did you think of Love Hurts?
It's okay. Like, it's kind of just the most okay movie ever made. It functionally has no story, and it's just a collection of decent knockoff Jackie Chan movies. Short Round doesn't have nearly the physicality of like prime Jackie Chan or even late era Jackie Chan.
He's solid, but
he's very solid. But all his fight scenes are like he kicks a person, they fall over a thing, and then he kicks them again. Like in Jackie Chan movies, you have that one where he's like in Legoland and he's like climbing up the Lego
I think
buildings.
that's also City Hunter.
Is that City Hunter? I thought that was Police Story 3.
Oh, yeah.
It's the one where...
That might have been Police... No, that was Police Story 4.
The Lego... Yeah.
That was like Police Story 4 First Strike 2 or something? I think that's First Strike 3.
The end of the Legoland one is the one where he's on the side of like that big sloped building.
No, that is Police Story, because then he slides down the building and he has to fight the like Russian drug dealer, I think.
But like he's at Legoland and they have a bunch of like...
Because we got
props and little...
You're right, because that was a screener copy, because it kept turning to black and white and popping up a thing that said, "This is a screener copy, so don't pirate it."
Like Jackie Chan kind of mastered the art of. He had like solid martial arts skills, but also had the physicality to do these goofier, more elaborate set pieces, and the fight scenes in this are completely fine. They're very solid, like kind of Asian style.
It's not like modern
stuff.
Sylvester Stallone when he's like, "I want to do a cool set piece," and it's obviously like a stuntman half the time. Like it's Short Round.
No, yeah. But it never hits the heights of the Jackie Chan movies it's impersonating. And the fight scenes are fine, but the problem is, like I said before, there's like 6 minutes of plot in this, and everything else... It's 87 minutes of fight scenes stitched together with the loosest plot you can imagine to vaguely tie the action scenes into a semi-cohesive narrative. And the fight scenes are just fine. If you want to watch a mindless action movie with a guy doing a like 70% Jackie Chan impersonation, then this is like the perfect thing for you. But also Jackie Chan's been in like 150 movies, and you can just watch one of the Rush Hour movies or like anything from his late era career where he was doing the same stuff but
better
to a higher degree.
If you don't mind subtitles or you don't mind really shitty dubs, Miramax like just fucking Harvey Weinstein's brother kept commissioning them to fucking dub a bunch of old Jackie Chan movies from the 70s. You can get those really easy on DVD. Police Story is a prime example. I'm sure you could literally get that on Amazon Prime with the shitty dub if you don't want to read.
Yeah.
Not that you even really need to fucking read with those movies. Who cares? It's just Jackie Chan kicking people jumping around.
I don't think it's the worst thing ever made. It's not memorable or all that interesting, but if your primary interest is just in seeing some Hong Kong style action scenes for 90 minutes, it is a solid enough little Hong Kong style Jackie Chan action thing. It is incredibly okay, basically. So Connor, would you recommend Love Hurts?
Transparently, I didn't like it very much. I don't think the story was really good, and I think the action was serviceable enough. I do think like you might get warrant out of it. I think the studio pushed it as like John Wick on Valentine's Day, but it's very much a Jackie Chan movie.
Yeah. No, it's not. I thought this was going to be a John Wick clone.
We were going in expecting a John Wick clone. So I think if you're looking for like a Hong Kong action movie, I'll give it a light recommend. But if you're not too versed in like martial arts movies, but it interests you, there are literally like hundreds of movies by people who just have done it better. Thousands of movies, probably. Jackie Chan has done hundreds. Donnie Yen, Jet Li. Those are
Bruce
just some
Lee.
famous ones. Bruce Lee did a handful before his death. Like, it's not hard to find. Oh, I guess our light's going to shit. This is natural.
Need to get a new light battery.
Anyhow, there are options out there, and I think this was. It was nice that they tried to do kind of like an American revival of Hong Kong action. I just don't think this one is necessarily worthy of the legacy it's trying to live up to. So Aiden, would you recommend... no, probably not. So Aiden, would you recommend Love Hurts?
For the most part, no. I guess if you're deeply entrenched in the Hong Kong style action Jackie Chan thing, it's a serviceable little modern take on it. It's certainly far from great. It's passable at best, but it does fill a niche that's been kind of dead over the last several years. It's not fantastic. It's a collection of Hong Kong style fight scenes, and depending how into that you are, you're going to get a
He wants to be an air fryer, but he has to settle with being a crock pot.
depending how into that whole concept you are, you're going to get a varying amount of enjoyment out of this, but it's very fine. I wouldn't go out of my way to see it, but it fills a very, very slight niche for people who are into a very specific genre.
Talk about how Jackie Chan hates his daughter.
Jackie Chan always goes on interviews and he's like, the Chinese government, honestly, like, you know, we're putting those Muslims in ovens and turning them into ash, but like, honestly, China not that bad. Like, I'm a millionaire, so like it's working out pretty well for me, you know. That's the Jackie Chan interview experience.
Yep.
And also, he was in that movie we saw in Vegas where he played like a terrorist.
He's gonna be in Karate Kid.
He sure is.
The newest Karate Kid Legacy.
Was he not already in?
He was in the Karate Kid remake with Jaden Smith. This movie is going to pull Jackie Chan from the Jaden Smith Karate Kid and
get rid of
Danny's
Jaden
son, Mark, or fucking what's his face? Karate Kid is going to come back and work with Jackie Chan to train a new child in martial arts. The end.
What do you think of Will Smith's ex-wife fucking all of his son's friends?
No comment.
He's still married to her.
Yeah, it's
Oh no!
He's a cuck.